All right, so this call is about how to support and onboard a new ambassador that you've added to your team. So the most important thing, guys, is we are in the business of customer service, right? And that's not necessarily that we just, sign somebody up and then check out. It means that we need to be there to support them through the process of taking their products and making sure that they're well educated and that they know how to take them and what to expect. So we came up with a process last year on Rockstars, the leaders and I, and it's called pretty much an onboarding process. It should be standard with everybody on our team. So I want to share this with you guys so you can do this, and then you can also duplicate it as your team grows larger and you add business builders. This way, everyone is in the same space and we all know exactly what we need to do to make sure our people are the most supported. So the very first thing that you want to do when you add an ambassador, 99% of people join with triplex, right? That's our cornerstone health combo, and then they add on to that. So the first thing you want to do is send that purple and white chart. You want to make sure that they have the chart to follow. If you don't know what that chart is, then reach out to your upline when we're done this call, or me, and I can give you that chart. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later on during this, but that's the very first thing you want to do. As soon as they join, I always send it just to make sure that I don't forget. So the chart, if you don't know, the reason we have that chart is because we want to tackle that candida and that yeast head on from the very get-go, right? We want to get rid of that yucky stuff so we can, just start to heal. And so the chart was put together so we can go in full force and take care of that. So I'm going to just describe the chart to you guys, like how we talk to our ambassadors about that in a second when I go through the welcome call and what to say on the welcome call. But I just want you to be aware that step 1 is give that chart, okay? Step 2 is welcome call, okay? When you do a welcome call, I recommend the first couple of times, maybe the first 3 to 5 times, do it with your upline. So if Brittany's your upline, or if Brianne or Caitlin or whoever is your upline, what you want to do is once you add your ambassador, you say, listen, I need to get you on the phone just for a quick 10 minutes. I need to go over the products with you, how to take them, what to expect. And then schedule that time with your upline and them. Don't even mention that your upline's going to be there because people will freak out. So when you call them, have your upline on the phone and say, listen, I'm so excited. I have my friend, yada, yada, on the phone. She's been taking the products a little bit longer than me, and we just like to make sure that you feel supported. So I'm going to let her run the call because I'm learning too, and we can learn together, right? Just make it really easy and light and fun. So during the call, your upline is going to talk about the chart and make a couple of recommendations. So I'm going to go through the standard welcome call, okay? And you can flower it up and spend 2 hours on the phone if you want, or you can just stick to this standard. It depends on the person. It depends on your relationship with them. It depends on your level of comfort, right? So when I do a welcome call, the very first thing that I do is introduce myself, and I give them a little bit of my story, not a whole book-long message, just like, yeah, it's been really awesome for me. I've lost, I'm high school weight after 4 babies, and I've dropped 10 prescriptions for these illnesses. So I'm really passionate about it. It's that simple. That's what I say. Then I go into their goals. I always ask them, even though we've chatted for a while before they signed, and I know what their goals are, I want them to verbalize their goals in the beginning of the welcome call. That way it's sitting in the back of their mind as we're talking about what they're going to need to do. And you'll see why, okay? So first thing is goals. Second thing is go over the purple and white chart. And when I say go over the purple and white chart, I mean specifically talk about each product. So this is what I do. I say, you're going to see on the purple and white chart that the first thing you're going to do is Slim. Then I explain how they're going to take Slim. In the morning, 8 to 12 ounces of water, mix it up. It's super easy, tastes great, drink it up, and make sure you eat 30 minutes after because it works to balance your blood glucose and your body needs fuel to do so. Doesn't have to be a huge meal, so if you're not a breakfast eater, eat a yogurt, eat a granola, something small, banana, as long as there's something in your body, right? So then I say, as long as everything's going well, you're going to see on the chart that you add in your bio cleanse. and you gradually increase the dosage of the BioCleanse. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, we want to clean out your intestines to make sure when that probiotic goes in there to do that good work, that your intestines are prepared, clean, and ready for the powerhouse probiotic to go in there and heal you, okay? And then I say the second thing with the BioCleanse is it oxygenates your body down to a cellular level, which is important, and I'll tell you why in a second when we talk about the probiotic. After that, as long as everything's going well, and I do tell them that it's a magnesium supplement, so they need to stay in close contact with me so I know how they're pooping. And I always make a joke about it. I'm like, look, I talk about poop with everybody. I have 4 kids, I have dogs, I have all these things. Like, don't be afraid to talk about poop. So if you find that you're pooping too much or not enough, tell me and we can make adjustments there, right? Okay? So then I tell them we're going to add the ProBio 5. The ProBio 5 has that yeast killer. And you're going to see that you gradually step up the ProBio 5. And the reason being is because we're going after that yeast, right? We want to get it out in a hurry. So this is when I bring up die-off. Welcome calls are huge for you to bring up die-off, okay? And I say, now, that being said, when we're getting rid of yeast and this probiotic's going to go in there and do this work in your body, you might experience something called die-off symptoms. Not everyone experiences it, but you might. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to start feeling a little bit off and think that the products aren't working. It's actually the opposite. They're doing their job, because when you break down yeast, you release endotoxins into your body. And sometimes that can make you feel a little bit crummy. And I just give them some quick, brief die-off symptoms like, fatigue, slight headache, nausea, sometimes rarely, diarrhea, constipation, bloating. Just a quick little rundown, and I say, and listen, if you experience these things, don't be afraid to tell me, because there's some things that we can do. We can either push through together and I can help you get through it, or we can back off on some of the products to make it more tolerable, even though it will lengthen your healing time, right? So bringing up die-off is huge because, and be excited about it. That's what I always do. I'm like, listen, when you hit die-off, the unicorns and the rainbows are right after. So be excited, So you're setting that tone ahead of time to where when they get there to die-off, they're like, oh, things are happening. Oh my gosh. And I get messages from people all the time, y'all. They're like, oh my God, I'm pooping over the moon. Die-off's happening. It's going to be awesome soon. Like, I'm serious. I get messages all the time. So as long as you set that tone ahead of time, you're going to set people up for success, because they're going to be educated and aware that what's happening is normal in their healing, okay? So also another thing in the welcome call, after I go through the chart, I make 3 recommendations. First is water, half of their body weight in ounces daily. And I tell them this is not plexus specific. This is recommended by the American Heart Association. Everyone should drink this amount of water. And I say, but this is why it's plexus specific, because you're healing and your body heals quicker and faster when you are well hydrated. Your body requires hydration to heal. So make sure that you're drinking water. If you don't like water, guess what? Go on Pinterest and look up some nice little fruit flavored natural waters you can make at home, and make a couple of pictures and make sure you get your water in. Okay? Second thing I recommend to them is physical exercise. I don't say and I tell everybody, I'm like, don't go into from where you are now to vegan overnight and exercise fanatic, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. Don't go do a complete 180, just add in some exercise over time. If it's 3 20-minute walks a week, and then you add that to 3 one-hour workouts a week, build yourself up and make sure you're doing some sort of physical activity, okay? Because physical activity is going to get the heart pumping, it's going to get the blood flowing, and it's going to assist in healing and gastromotility and all of these wonderful things. You don't have to go into all of that, but just recommend exercise. Last thing is I tell them to throw their scale away, don't ever touch it again, and take measurements. And I tell them this is why, because I've had people on my team that have stayed the same weight the whole time, but they'll lose 12 inches in their waist, because when you heal, your muscles retain water, right? Also, sometimes through die-off, you can experience a little bit of bloating, and your body, when it's going through the healing process, it's balancing. And sometimes you can see the weight fluctuate, an additional 5 pounds in the first 2 months, and you're going to notice that you've lost inches. So pay attention to the inches. So I tell them to weekly measure bilaterally their biceps, their belly around their umbilical, around their hips, and around their quadriceps. And I tell them to add that total up, write it down on a piece of paper, and at the same time, same day, every week, set a reminder in their phone to do their measurements weekly. And then I tell them to take that first measurement, subtract it from the second, or take the second measurement, subtract it from the first measurement, and this is how you find your total inches lost, okay? So that's what I cover on the welcome call. At the end, I ask them if they have any questions. If they do, I answer their questions. That's why it's good in the beginning to have your upline on the call, because sometimes you might get some questions that you don't know the answer to, and you don't want to be like a deer in the headlights and like get anxious and freak out, right? And you know what? If your upline's not available and you do the call and you don't know, it's okay to be honest, guys. You can be like, look, I know this is working for me, and I'm not really sure the answer to that question, but I'm sure Marion can help me with that. So after we hang up, I'm going to put you in a three-way chat with her, and we'll ask. So that leads me to the next thing. Once you hang up on that call, whether your upline's there or not, put them in a three-way chat on Facebook with your upline and tell them, listen, this is my friend so-and-so. They're my Plexus upline. They have been taking the products for a while, and we just want to make sure that you have the most support possible during your healing process. So I just wanted to start this chat so you have access to Marion or X, whoever their name is, right? In case I'm not available. And usually people are super grateful for that, and I can tell you that people use those three ways a lot. And there's a lot of times that, you know, a lot of you work during the day that you're not available. They'll ask a question and I can answer it. So that third-party validation, guys, is huge. Having connectivity, having friendship, having a larger connection to something beyond you, someone beyond you, helps the person stay committed because they feel like they're a part of something, right? So that's it as far as the welcome. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. One more thing. When you're on your welcome call, if they do not have their convenience order on, if they, for some reason, they didn't set it up when they signed up, this is when you get it turned on. You say, listen, I don't want you to waste your money, okay? And the reason I'm saying this is because I realized your convenience order is not on. I need you to go into this with the mindset of committing to 90 days because we're not some crazy weight loss supplement. We are a healing supplement, and that's going to take time. If you want the results to happen and you want them to stay, and you want it to be lasting results, you have to commit to 90 days. And here's why the convenience order is important for the first 90 days. Because if you forget to order and if you run out in the baby stage when your intestines are a newborn and it requires all of that nurturing and attention, and you run out of those supplements, guess what? You're going to set yourself back to square one. So let's make sure we get that turned on. You can turn it off at any point in time with no penalties, no like 30-day warning required. It's all at your leisure. You literally log in, click on, off, blah, 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 right? This is when you make sure that you get them committed to the consistency of the 90 days and that their convenience order is on. So that's it as far as the welcome call. Now, after this, after the welcome call, let's talk about follow-up. How do we follow up with our newbies, right? Like what is required of us to help them be successful? That's going to vary with every person, the amount of follow-up required. And this is why I say this. Some people are like, I just want to feel better and I want to lose 5 pounds. So that kind of person, you can follow up weekly. You know, you can just send them a message weekly and say, hey, how's it going? And they'll be like, oh, it's awesome. I lost 7 pounds. I'm feeling good. The energy's great. Great. Keep going, girl. Then next week again, follow up. Now, let's look at the another side of that. What if you have someone with an autoimmune disease, right? Fibromyalgia or hypothyroid or Hashimoto's or Lyme's disease or lupus. These people are going to require a lot of love, a lot of friendship, a lot of attention, and a lot of support because die-off's going to be rough and they're going to have to suffer a little bit. And these people, guys, their quality of life is so low that they it's almost like they just need that hand to hold, okay? And I promise you, if you take the time to do that, when you see their health success, when you see their quality of life improve, like I did with Brittany, and I'm going to do with my friend Allison that I just signed, it's the most rewarding feeling you will ever have. So it's worth it to take that extra time to handhold during that process for people that are really sick, guys. We really have some powerful tools, but it is our responsibility as the sponsor to make sure that these people see the results that they deserve, right? We don't want to just sell these products to them and check out and not let them have the success. The goal and the core of it always is, let's help them be successful. Let's help them reach those goals, right? So follow-up's going to depend on the person. Like I said, you can gauge that. Just make sure that you do follow up. And guys, this is lessons learned for me, because I've gotten to the point where sometimes I've recruited like 12 to 14 people in a month, and some of them have just slipped through the cracks because some of them require a lot of attention. And then, you know, those people that don't require the attention, I kind of just like forget about or whatever. And it's slapped me in the face. So make sure that you have some sort of system that works for you. You know, like maybe you like a little calendar like this, you know, and you can just write like every other Friday these people's names, or put it in your phone, or write it, put sticky notes, whatever works for you. Just make sure you don't forget to follow up with people. So that's it as far as just like the standard onboarding process, which is the purple and white chart, the welcome call, add to a 3-way chat with your upline. And we already discussed the things to go over in the welcome call, and then follow up. One more thing I do want to mention though, guys, is in that welcome call, don't be afraid to bring up silver. The way that I do it is basically in the welcome call, I just say, look, I don't know. I know you're not interested in the business, and that's totally okay. But a lot of people, what they like to do is just add 3 accountability partners, get their products covered in the first month, because you get a $100 bonus and $25 per welcome pack, and you have some friends to do it with you. We also have this really fun group that we get added to, and you can earn prizes. Just, you know, no pressure at all. I just like to mention it because a lot of people do like to do that, and then they just never work the business again. And I've had people, guys, literally go silver and check out, and I've had people agree to just go silver, and then they've turned into rock stars on my team. It's just some people don't really see the vision of this business until they get those 3 ambassadors, and then they start to hear, you know, how they're helping them without even really trying, and then they're just like, whoa, I can do this for same. That's what happened with Brienne. Brienne was like, oh, I want this silver star prize, right? And then she's like, holy moly, I'm healing the planet. I want to keep going, you know? So don't be afraid to bring up silver. Don't look at it like you're trying to use someone. Just offer it to them as it's just, you know, something cool, you know? It's all about how you talk about it, guys. So that's it as far as onboarding and what I recommend. I'm going to unmute you guys, and I want you guys to ask me questions, because I know, and it doesn't have to be specific to onboarding ambassadors. Hold on. Let me open this up. Because I know, oh gosh. Sorry guys, my computer's, hold on. Okay. I know that there's been questions in the chat, so I just want to make sure that you guys, let me pause the recording though.